Good morning, dear students. Hopefully, you all are doing great. You all are welcome to the online science lesson. Today, I am going to take your first guided assessment, but first of all, we will read textbook pages 44 till 45 and then I will evaluate your understanding about the concept. Quickly take out your textbooks and write date and day on page number 44 and 45. You have to follow this format to write date and day. Use a scale and a pencil to draw 3 lines. Write day on the line that you will draw in the upper right corner. On the line that you will draw in the middle of the page, you will just write the classwork. And on the line that you are going to draw in the upper left corner, you will write today's date. Today it's Tuesday 19th of January. So just write this date and day on page number 44 and on page number 45 you will just write the classwork. Here are the learning objectives for today. First of all, we will identify the role of energy in the ecosystem and we will understand how energy is transferred in food chains. After that, I will take the guided assessment to evaluate the understanding of all of you about the concept. Look at this picture. In this picture, a bird is sitting on a tree and it is eating some kind of fruit. This bird is eating this fruit to get energy. We can call this bird as consumer because consumers are those living things which get energy from other living things. The plant which is producing these fruits is a producer because producers are those living things which can make their own food. And the rest of the food is used by the consumers to get energy. Let's discuss the keywords for today. Today we will discuss 7 keywords and the definitions of these keywords are given on page number 115 of your textbook. Producer. A producer is a living thing that makes or produces its own food. Consumer. A consumer is a living thing that eats or consumes other living things. And decomposer is a living thing that breaks down the waste and dead plants and animals to get energy. Food chain. A food chain shows how food energy is transferred when one living thing eats or it is eaten by another in turn. A herbivore is a consumer that eats only plants and a carnivore is a consumer that only eats other animals. On the other hand, the omnivores are the consumers that eat both plants and animals. Energy role in an ecosystem. The energy plays a very important role in an ecosystem because every living thing needs energy to stay alive and to grow. What is energy? Actually, the energy is the ability to do work. It means if the animal or the plants have energy, they are able to do any work. If they are not having the energy, they are not able to do any work. Different living things get energy by different ways. Some of them can make their own food and some of them are dependent on other living things for their food. Green plants use sunlight along with air and water to make their own food and they store this food in the form of sugars. There is a process called photosynthesis and by photosynthesis plants are able to make their own food. They use carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and they mix all of these ingredients in the presence of chlorophyll which is present in the leaves of the green plants. And as a result of photosynthesis, sugars are made. Plants use some of the sugars as their own food and the excessive food or sugars are stored in different parts of the plants in different ways. The plants get energy they need from the sugars that they make and that's why the plants are called producers because they can make or produce their own food. Many living things cannot make their own food and they get energy from the food that they eat or consume. Such living things which get energy by eating other organisms are called the consumers. Such living thing that eats or consumes other living things or organisms to get energy are called consumers, and all the animals are usually consumers. They either eat the other animals or they eat plants, or some of them eat both plants and animals to get energy and to stay alive. When plants or animals die, their stored energy is unused for them. It means that they cannot use this energy, and this energy is used by some other kind of living things that break down the dead organic matter or dead plants and animals to get energy. These living things that break down waste and dead plants and animal matter are called decomposers. There are lots of decomposers which are found usually in the soil, and when some plants and animal are died, they get energy by decaying that plant and animal. Fungi are mostly decomposers, and mushroom and banana slug are some examples of the decomposers. Here comes question number 1 for you. You have to read the text and you have to match the columns. In one column some words are given and in other column some descriptions are given. You have to match these words with their descriptions. Let's start solving it. A. Producer. Producers can make or produce their own energy, so you will match producers with the third description. Consumers need to eat to get their energy, so you will match the consumers with the first description, and decomposers break down dead plants and animals for energy, so you will match C with the second description. Quickly finish writing this question and we will solve question number 2 then. For question number 2, you have to read the given text and then you will label the given pictures as consumer, producer or decomposer. In the first picture, a puffin is shown. Puffins eat fish to get energy. They are eating the other consumers to get energy, so we will say it is a consumer. Mushrooms break down a dead tree for energy. The organisms which get energy by breaking down the dead organic matter or dead plants and animal waste are called decomposers. So you will write decomposer here. A fern plant takes in sunlight to make its own food. A fern is a producer because it can make its own food. Write producer over here. Here is a think question for you. What do you think, how are a consumer and a decomposer similar? A consumer and a decomposer are similar because they get energy from other living things or other organisms. Now we will discuss about the food chains or the transfer of energy from one organism to another. A food chain shows the transfer of energy from one living thing to another living thing. When consumers eat other organisms, the energy is transferred from those organisms to the consumer. This transfer of energy is shown in the form of a food chain and it is shown by the arrows. The arrows in the food chain shows the transfer of energy and the direction of flow of energy also. The first link in the food chain is usually the sun because every living thing gets energy from the sun. Even the producers or the plants uses the sunlight to make their own food. So the first link in every food chain is usually the sun. The second link is always a producer. Producers or plants make their own food by the process of photosynthesis by using the sunlight, and rest of the food which they don't need they store in the form of fruits or vegetables or any other form, and the other organisms or consumers they take their food from the plants for their survival. Other consumers either eat plants or the animals and get energy. When the consumers eat the producers, the energy flows from the producer to the consumer, and when another consumer eat the first consumer which were eating plants, the energy is transferred to that second consumer. In this way, the food chains are constructed and the flow of energy is shown by the help of arrows, and the direction of the arrow shows the direction of flow of energy. For example, this is a food chain. This food chain is starting from the sun. The first link in the food chain is sun. The producer or the plant is getting energy from the sun, and the flow of energy is shown by the help of the arrow. The consumer or the rat eats this plant and get energy, and energy flows from the producer to this consumer. When another consumer, for example this eagle, eats the rat, the energy flows from the rat to that second consumer, and in this way different food chains can be constructed or made. The links of the food chains are always joined with the help of arrows, and the arrows shows the flow and direction of energy from one living thing to another. Usually there are three types of consumers. Some are herbivores, some are carnivores, and some are omnivores. Herbivores are those consumers that only eats the plants and they get all the energy by eating plants only. Horses, zebras, camels, goats, mice, rabbits, deers, and many other animals which only eat plants are called the herbivores. Some consumers eat only other animals and they are called carnivores. Means the carnivores are the animals or consumers which eat only the meat of other animals, and many animals like lion, tiger, shark, eagle, and cats are carnivores because they eat the other animals. Some consumers get energy by eating both plants and animals, and we call them omnivores. Humans are also omnivores because they also eat plants and animals both. As the omnivores can eat both plants and animals, so if they do not get one type of food, they can survive on other type of food. For example, if the omnivores are not getting plants to eat, they can eat the animals to survive. Or if they are not getting any animals to eat, they can survive by eating plants only. So the omnivores get benefit by eating both plants and animals. So they can survive better than carnivores or herbivores because they can eat a variety of food, and if one type of food is not available, they can eat the other type of food. Here is question number 3 for you. Hold red and green colors in your hands. You have to circle the consumer that is a carnivore in red and the consumer that is herbivore with the green color. In this food chain, the eagle is a carnivore, so you will circle the eagle in red color. The prairie dog is a herbivore, so you will circle the prairie dog with the green color. Here are some video links given for you. I have attached these video links with the lesson. Click on the link to watch the video, then you will be able to know more about the herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and you will learn more about the consumers, producers, and decomposers also. Now get ready students, it's time for the guided assessment. You all have to prepare a page for this assessment. Do not write on the notebook page, take a loose sheet and prepare the page like this. First of all, you will write date, day and classwork on the page, and then you will write the topic ecosystems. After writing the topic, you will underline it with the colored pencil, and then you will leave one line and you will write answer these questions. This is the guided assessment. You have to answer these questions on the loose sheet so that you can submit it at school. I have discussed these questions already in the reading. You can take help from there or you can take help from the textbook also. Question number 1. Could an omnivore still get energy if it had no plants to eat? Why or why not? There are two parts of the question. In first part, you have to tell, could an omnivore still get energy? If you think yes, then you will write yes, it can get energy. And if you think no, it cannot get energy, write the answer and then you will write the reason. Why do you think that it can get energy or it cannot get energy? You have to give the reason also. After writing the answer of this question on the loose sheet, you will write question number 2. Question number 2 is, what is a food chain? You have to tell what is a food chain and you can take help from the textbook also. After that, you have to construct a food chain and you will label the producers and consumers in it. As you all know, there are different links in a food chain. Some of them are producers and some of them are consumers. So you have to construct a food chain of your own choice and you have to label the consumers and producers in it. You have to answer both of these questions on the loose sheet or on a paper to complete your first guided assessment. That was all for today. If you didn't get anything or if you are confused about any question, you can ask me in the comment section. I will answer your query. Take great care of yourself. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you.